Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at my Pre-Transformers Browning. So grab yourself a frosty beverage, sit back and enjoy the review. Hey guys, M here from Transformers and Video Games, and welcome back to the channel. I've always been a huge fan of Megatron, so naturally I'm drawn to other gunformers, for lack of a better term. Back in the early 80s, there was another gun robot who looked a little bit like Megatron that was produced by Takara in the Pre-Transformers Micro Change line and in the Japanese G1 Super God Masterforce line called Browning. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a vintage knockoff version that was produced by a third-party company called Kingdam. If you enjoy my reviews or just want to support my channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Now let's get started. On the front of the box, you can see that this figure cost $4.99 back in the 80s, which was an absolute steal compared to what $5 will buy you today. Maybe a bot or two? Mine has an unfortunate rip right across the front box art, which is a shame, but I didn't pay a lot of money for this figure, so it's no big deal, I suppose. On the underside of the box, it says Very Robo Series, Kingdam 05 Robogun Browning M1920, and it has some nice box art. The back of the box on the left, it shows the accessories that are included and tells you to read the instructions before playing and to never aim the toy at anyone, which I think we can all agree is pretty sound advice. Looking back on it, it was interesting that a toy version of a realistic-looking handgun was marketed towards kids ages 5 and up. Ah, the 80s, a time of direct marketing towards children in the form of cartoons, sugary breakfast cereals, and of course my favorite, realistic-looking gun toys like G1 Megatron. Sometimes I wish I could go back and experience it all over again. On the right side of the box, it includes instructions for transformation. Apparently, it only takes a total of 9 steps to transform Browning from gun mode to robot mode. Here's a look at the sticker sheet that was included with the figure. If I'm fortunate enough to get an unapplied sticker sheet with one of my vintage toys, I tend to leave it that way. In this particular case, these stickers look and feel kind of cheap, so my suggestion would be to see if Toy Hacks makes a set of repro labels for it rather than using these ones. Browning comes packaged in a styrofoam tray, which is another thing that I miss from the 80s. It's not very environmentally friendly by today's standards, but I much prefer this over plastic clamshells with twist ties, or those annoying tabs that you have to cut off. I can understand why this figure comes with several pellets, but one thing I do find a little bit strange is the fact that Browning comes with a second set of fists. Here's the figure out of package and in gun mode. Browning was a semi-automatic pistol produced in Belgium by Fabrique Nationale, which is what the logo on the gun grip stands for. It's funny, but ever since I was a kid, that logo always reminded me of the one used by the New York Yankees baseball team. The grip has a nice realistic-looking texture, and even a screw has been molded in place for added realism. The silver chrome finish on the figure is absolutely beautiful, but for whatever reason they chose to make the sight out of yellow plastic. From the front end you can see the spring down the barrel of the gun, which is apparently one of the 2 ways for you to shoot the pellets that the figure comes with. The Browning toy is actually undersized compared to a real-life version of the gun. I don't have the largest hands in the world, and it's a little bit small in my hands, but certainly the perfect size for the intended demographic. Overall, I have no complaints about the gun mode here. I think that they've done a really nice job on it. Browning comes with 5 yellow pellets. One of mine is off the sprue, so I'll use that one to test the firing mechanism since I've never actually done it before. All you need to do is push the pellet into the barrel of the gun until it clicks, telling you that it's locked in place. Then go ahead and pull the trigger. Okay, you can see that the end of the gun is extending every time I pull the trigger, but that it's not shooting the pellet. Again, if you press the sight of the gun, you can shoot the pellet that way, but that's clearly not working either. It's unfortunate, but I suppose that's what you get with KO figures sometimes, unless someone can tell me in the comments what I'm doing wrong here. Now we'll get into the transformation. First, pull the back end of the gun out, unlocking it from the top of the gun grip, being very careful not to break the tabs that lock it in place. Then pull the barrel of the gun out, lift the center of the figure up, revealing the robot's abdominal section, spin Spin it around at the front, and then rotate the arms down at the shoulders. Now we'll move along to the legs. Mine are a little bit tight, but pull the legs down from the gun grip at the back. Then rotate them around 180 degrees, which is a little bit different than what we do for G1 Megatron. Next, pull down his giant jackrabbit feet at the front. Then don't forget to pull down the heel sections at the back, giving him extra stability in robot mode. And that's it for the transformation. As I mentioned earlier, Browning comes with 2 sets of fists, which is a nice bonus in case you lose one of them. As expected, there's a hole on the top of each one so that he can hold his weapons in both hands. There is a specific left and right fist, which you can easily determine based on the position of the thumbs. The one on the left with the plus sign molded in place will plug into the robot's left wrist, and the other one will plug into the robot's right wrist. I'm going to go ahead and put the fists on the robot now. We'll start with the right side. The plug itself is identical to the back side of one of the pellets. If the firing mechanism was working on mine, he would actually be able to shoot his fist, but I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. The back side of the plug for the left fist looks different because there's no firing mechanism on the left side. As you can see, mine is a little bit tight, likely because this particular toy hasn't been played with too much. Here's the robot fully transformed with both fists in place, and in my opinion, it looks really good. Before we move along to articulation, I thought we'd take a quick look at the figure's face. Not only does the head pop up on a spring much like G1 Rumble and Frenzy, but in some respects the look of the face reminds me of the Rumble Frenzy mold as well. The figure is about as articulated as any other Transformers toy from the era. The shoulders will rotate a full 360 degrees. The waist will swivel. And if you like, it'll do a full 360 degree rotation. You just need to be mindful of clearance when it comes to the red latch at the front of the figure. You can theoretically rotate the legs at the hips 180 degrees, but realistically you wouldn't really display it at more than maybe a 45-degree angle. And that's about it for meaningful articulation. Browning comes with 2 identical guns that are loaded with details, but unfortunately they were molded in probably the ugliest color of yellow plastic that I've ever seen. The official figure comes with silver chrome accessories, but if they didn't want to do that, I would have preferred if the knockoff version came with black plastic accessories rather than yellow ones. You have 2 options when it comes to posing the figure with its handguns. For starters, he has a hole on the left and the right side of his head so that you can give him a shoulder-mounted cannon. And he can obviously hold the other gun in either his left or his right hand. I actually think that the figure looks really good with this particular combination. Why don't we take a quick 360-degree look at Browning now that he's all armed up. You can see that he has red plastic on the outside of his legs, which is the opposite of G1 Megatron, who has the red plastic parts on the inside of his legs. I like how the red plastic elbow and shoulder sections also accent his legs and really tie the colors in nicely. The back of the figure is surprisingly clean, especially compared with G1 Megatron, who has been my favorite G1 Transformers toy ever since I was a child. Overall, I'm going to say that the robot mode is very successful, especially compared with other gunformers of the era. As luck would have it, once I finished my review, I ended up finding my original Takara Pre-Transformers Micro Change Browning figures. They may look the same in this lighting, but the one on top has a rose gold chrome finish that's unmistakable in person, and blue inner plastic parts instead of red plastic parts. The one on the bottom is identical in appearance to the Kingdam version of the figure that I just reviewed, only it feels like better quality in hand, and in both cases, the gun accessories have a nice shiny chrome finish. Here's a quick look at the back side of the boxes. I don't read or speak Japanese, so unfortunately I can't translate what the writing says, but I think that we can all agree that the back of these boxes looks a lot more impressive than the Kingdam version of the figure that I just reviewed. I absolutely love collecting official Takara Pre-Transformers figures because I think that they represent an important part of Transformers history. I've had both of these figures for several years now, but I can only imagine how much it would cost me to try to add these figures to my collection in today's marketplace. Alright guys, here we are with Browning back in his robot mode, and I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. In conclusion, would I recommend adding a G1 Browning to your collection? I would say pass on any of the official versions of the figure at this point, unless you have unlimited disposable funds, a money tree growing in your backyard, or unless you get really lucky and find one for the right price. I would recommend the Kingdam Vintage KO version if you can find it cheap enough, or there was a third-party reissue of it that came out a number of years ago that's not only excellent quality, but I've seen it as cheap as $60 US as recently as at the time of this recording. Thanks again for watching, everyone. If you want to help me out, please consider subscribing to my channel, leaving me a comment, and sharing this video. Take care.